Let's try another math trig problem. Determine the ratio of sine A as a fraction. So we have this picture here, and we recall that we need to remember this mnemonic, so, ka, toa. And what we have here is the ratio of sine A, sine of this angle A. So we're talking about this angle here. Sine of A, this angle, we can call this sine theta or sine x here, is equals to, the sine of an angle is equals to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So what we need here is the hypotenuse. We need the c value here. Now the mistake that students would make would say, they would say sine of A is equals to 5 over 10. They would just copy down the numbers, or they might say 10 over 5. This is wrong. We don't have the hypotenuse yet. The sine of some angle is equals to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So for our example, the ratio means numerator divided by denominator. Sine of A is equals to the opposite. If we put our finger on this A angle, the opposite would be a 5 over the hypotenuse, which is c. But we don't know what c is. However, we can find it. Recall that Pythagorean theorem, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So c squared is equals to 10 squared plus 5 squared. And if you take the square root of both sides, you can solve for c. So c is equals to the square root of 125, but let me just work it out here. So c squared is equals to 125. So c is equals to the square root of 125. Now, if you've practiced converting this entire radical into a mixed radical, you could do so. But let's just leave it like this for now. So this is a possible c value. It's an exact c value. So the actual answer to the question, sine A is equals to 5 over square root of 125. This here would be a valid answer. Now, if you already learned how to convert entire radicals into mixed radicals, you can rewrite square root of 125 as 5 times 5 times 5, and we could pull out the 5 here. This becomes 5 root 5. So another valid answer would be that sine A is equals to 5 over 5 root 5. And we can continue further simplifying this by dividing top and bottom by 5. We get a 1, and we get this a 1 as well. So sine A is equals to 1 over root 5. And so we answered the question because the question is asking for a fraction. If we were to want a decimal, you could use your calculator, and we'd get an approximate answer. Sine of A is approximately equals to 0.447. So a common error in this question is to simply find the angle. We're not asking for an angle. We're asking for the ratio of sine of A. So we're not trying to solve A, we're trying to solve sine of A. So we know the answer is going to be a fraction, and you have to remember that fraction comes from the basic trig knowledge of SOHCAHTOA. Sine of some angle is equals to opposite over hypotenuse. And the tricky part here is not to just copy down the numbers, but rather to solve that unknown side first.